Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the NFLPA Summer Getaway Madden Tournament Grand Finals. I am Nathanias, joined by Lawler, and we're going to be bringing you through all the action today as we get some virtual football going on. Lawler, it's good to be working with you, covering some Madden, getting to talk about some football. We've got some exciting games coming up today, don't we?
Dude, it's crazy. They hear how much we talk about football off camera, and they're like, finally, let's put them together on camera so they can talk about it. So, yeah, absolute pleasure, man. A lot of really fun matches to look forward to.
Yeah, we've got a couple of games coming up. As we said, it is going to be the grand finals for Xbox and PlayStation. We're going to pull up the schedule for today's matches to get y'all caught up to speed. We've got Terry Jackson going up against Torrey Humphrey in the PlayStation 4 finals. Following that, we'll be moving into Charles Ali versus Dexter Jackson in the Xbox finals. And, you know, we talk about it, Adam. We've got the former players coming in. They've been on the field in competition. Now they're in the game in competition, but you know that pride's still on the line. Everybody wants to win, and hopefully we get some fierce, good competition come out of it.
Now, I will say I have a little bias towards one of the players. Going to put that out right away. He's playing my team. So a little bit of a forewarning on that one, but yeah, I'm excited for it, man. There's been some pretty awesome stories through the bracket of someone getting knocked out in the first round, but then battling through the entire lower bracket to make it back. There's some really cool storylines that we're going to see. Plus, we've got a fantastic trio here to bring you guys the action. So before we get into that, obviously, let's look a little bit at the specifics for y'all, because I am dying to get into this, Nate.
Oh yeah. We've got that bracket ready for you to take a look at. So this is where things kind of shook up. We see Wolverine Jack coming in from the top side, and Thumper 84, just the team names that we had on the bracket for the tournament. And I think the only thing worth pointing out, as far as the format goes for this grand finals, it's going to be a best of one with a reset. If that lower bracket team is able to get the win, they'll need to win a second game. But the team on top, Wolverine Jack's team in this case, is going to be the team where if they're able to win that first match in this grand finals, they're just going to take that prize and walk away with all the glory. So there's a bit more pressure for the team that wasn't able to make it up here undefeated, and at the same time takes a little bit of the pressure off for the team that's coming on the top side of that bracket. So that's what we were looking at to get things started with today. And I'm proud to introduce to y'all our third commentator. As Lawler was saying, we've got Nick Ferguson joining us to bring that actual real football knowledge while we talk about the games that we're a little bit more accustomed to doing our commentary for. Hi, Nick. How are you doing today, sir?
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I'm expected to see a lot of trash talk because even though we're talking about retired guys, I mean, you still have that jawing, and everyone wants to have those bragging rights. So it's going to be a great game. Baltimore versus the Green Bay Packers. So I'm trying to see if I think it's Terry Jackson who may have Baltimore. Is he going to take Lamar Jackson out and run with him a lot, or is he going to try to utilize the vertical passing game? So we're just going to have to wait and see.
I have a very good feeling, Nick. We're going to see a lot of bootlegging happen, and I'm okay with it because you got a scrambling quarterback. That leaves a little bit open, I think, for both ends, whether it be a pick or some pressure. So I'm really looking forward to it. On the other side, like you said, Torrey Humphrey is going to be playing those Packers. That is where I'm born and raised from. So obviously they've got my bet. But at the same time, I know how this game works. It's a little bit different depending on what kind of versatility you bring to the table. So even though both guys on the quarterback side have a cannon, it's going to be a fun one to see how it develops. So plus, we get to pick your brain. That's the reason I'm here. Let's be honest, Nick. I'm here for you.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm ready, and let's get down to it.
All right. Yeah. No, super exciting. I couldn't agree with you guys more. As we are going to be getting into that first game in just a moment. As you guys were saying, the teams, we've got Ravens for Terry Jackson, Torrey Humphrey playing as the Packers. I'm curious just as much as you guys are. Are we going to see those heavy option plays with Lamar Jackson coming out of the backfield? There's a lot of good plays in Madden 21 to utilize his abilities. I mean, they put him on the cover for a reason, and it looks like either he's going to get the ball to start things off as Green Bay kicks it off. And we get this one underway for the grand finals for PlayStation 4 for our tournament here today.
Now, Nathan, obviously, I know you are one of the best Madden players ever, right? I've seen you grind. It's no
I'm not
joke.
terrible.
Uh,
I love Madden.
I mean, you managed to win with the Jets week in and week out, so like that surprises me personally. But overall, man, obviously you have a lot of different styles to your play. There's some metas or the standards, things that we should expect to see from these players based upon the optimal way to play this game. Ideally, what are you looking for to see this develop into? Is it gonna be, like we said, a bunch of bootlegs like Nick is mentioning, or is it gonna be a certain style that we should expect?
Well, I think we're already seeing a standard Madden strategy. One of the most popular packages is that gun trips TE coming out. Of course, it gives you the versatility with those big cross deep plays, but also starting it off with a run up the middle. It's just a great way to say, hey, I know that these are big passing plays that will, if you're playing Ultimate Team, you're going to have people bombing it out to Tyreek Hill on the deep crossers, specifically out of these types of packages. But I already like that he's kind of mixing it up at the start. This is the sort of thing we got to keep our eyes on because you'll see so many different types of plays run out of these setups. And here we go with the screen off to Dobbins. A nice start. Absolutely nice start here for Terry Jackson.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, watching, Terry come out, I mean, 2 plays, getting this running back involved. For me, he's trying to set things up, for later on because now coming out with Lamar Jackson, you think he was going to run a lot of bootlegs, but give it to your running back, set things up, maybe take a shot down the field here.
Now we see he's getting set up now. He's going to take that snap. And I love you talking about that. Bit of an awkward situation. The ball comes out, gets picked up by Smith
Wow.
right on
What a
through into the
play.
end zone for the scoop and score. Big man gets the TD. Okay, well, I like the conversation thread we were on. We were talking up a little bit. I love that, especially with Lamar Jackson. Establish the run, use the running back. Don't let your opponent don't make things easy for them to figure out what you're going to do. But then the situation like that happens. You take that hit trying to get the pass out right before the tackle comes in, and that ball comes loose. And all of a sudden, well, Baltimore's got the ball again, except this time they're down 7.
Hey man, Nick,
Well,
you were talking about possible trash
championships,
talk,
yeah,
right? And
right, right.
Terry over there is pretty animated, man. Torrey looks calm, collected. He's ready to play, but Terry's got some animation to him, man.
Well, they said that offensive stats is for the regular season, but defense wins championships. But that's a great way to start, the game, forcing a turnover, putting pressure on the offense. So let's see. Baltimore has the ball now. Let's see what they can do with it.
Yeah, we're gonna need some immediate turnaround, obviously, here from Terry. It's kind of a bad precedent to set. You come out strong, you have a couple good plays, and here's a great run up the gut with Dobbins before he's stopped by Savage. But again, it's kind of what you're trying to do is you want to mix it up, and dinking and dumping is a good way, even with these vertical sets. But the options you have out of it, and he's sticking to it. I'm actually a huge fan of that. Going right back to it, right up the gut. He doesn't need any crazy big plays, so. Smart decisions until he gets punished for it. Keep doing it.
Well, yeah, if it's not broke, don't try to fix it. And establishing the run and having a balanced attack, that's a great part of establishing, your game plan. But at some point, you have to take shots down the field.
And we'll have to see if this is where he tries to go for that opportunity, bringing the corners up a little bit on the outside just in case he makes that move towards the run again. And you can see he comes right up for it. He looks for it. Not quite as much he's going to be able to pick up there. But yeah, I was going to say at some point you're thinking about trying to slow down the game, but he's still doing these heavy run plays so far out of this no huddle. He's kind of feeling a bit of the pressure, but at the same time hasn't been taking those shots. Now we're going to see that down the middle, hits Brown right on the hash, and a nice pickup. I think this also good for establishing a bit of momentum right after that turnover, Nick. Getting kind of back into that aggressive mindset where you can attack the other player has to be super important.
Well, yeah, I mean, from the onset of the game, the idea was just kind of run the ball, try to get the defense to bite up, and then now in that 15, 10-yard window, make sure you can find someone who can run in between that zone. He definitely did it just there.
Yeah, I definitely want to commend what Terry's doing here. He had 2 back-to-back rush plays, and it basically conditions that defense to where he's now using user control. He's moving Savage into a position to, block that gap. And now a 3rd play in a row looks the exact same, hits him with the deep threat. So well done by Terry to bring this back around.
Yeah, you can see how much he's been pushing that whole defensive front up to try and stuff the run. He's not going to be getting more than a few yards off of this one, but that's kind of what you were talking about, right, Nick? It's about setting that expectation and then trying to capitalize on that. Maybe we see the pass come out of here. He's got so many people. He got so many men up in the box. There's nobody deep in this situation. Maybe this is where we see him try to get that deep pass in, throws it, but again, good reaction time. It's so dangerous when you see everybody move up like that because you feel like you got to be able to throw the ball in Madden. But a lot of the times, if you're just disguising the coverage and pulling someone up and they take that step back, the field's not as deep at this point. You don't have as much space to try and get separation off the defenders. So still hard to make those passes work. And I'm not going to lie, I get a little bit nervous thinking about turnovers in this position when you're down 7 and you're in that red zone. You need these points. He needs to pick up something here.
Yeah, he definitely needs to pick up something, but I like what the defense is doing. They're moving guys in position to make plays if there is a run, but also utilizing stick play, to make sure that safety is running. Great play by Lamar Jackson getting outside the pocket, and we see somewhat of a hurry up right here because he understands he's running out of time, and he definitely has to get some points on the board.
Yeah, clock's ticking down here. Obviously, under a minute now already in the first quarter. But this is a big play, 4th and 5, do or die in this kind of situation. Do you think, if Green Bay gets the ball back here for Torrey, that could spell trouble? 2 scores in this kind of format is absolutely lethal, especially with it being a best of 1. Luckily, and I'm okay with the timeout. Take some time, look at what you're seeing for that formation, and call the optimal play. Because, like I mentioned, if he goes down by 2 scores in a game like this, you're almost guaranteed to see that bracket reset we talked about in the format. Torrey, obviously coming from that lower bracket, does need to win 2 games in a row. Opting for the field goal.
Smart.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
Smart play.
I said, take what you can get in these kinds of situations. You had a fumble, a scoop and score to open up the game. Being able to get any points off the back of that, I think it's got to take a little bit of the pressure off. Now a touchdown will put him ahead, right? And I don't know if y'all saw, but when he tried to do that no huddle on 4th and 5, and he was thinking about going for it, we had the defensive view. He had 2 of his guys, the middle linebacker and the nose tackle, switched over to spy. So he had that double spy ready if he was trying to run Lamar up. So I definitely think it was best to go for that kick. Looks like he's gonna have a little trouble on the kickoff there. So with the ball, good field position to start now for the Pack.
Just think about that. I mean, you turn the ball over and then you give the opponent, great field position. I don't think that's the way that he wanted to start things off.
Yeah, it's pretty scary too. We haven't seen the Packers offense just yet. So obviously Torrey showcasing his defensive talents. Excited to see what he does here on offense. Obviously the one you got to pay attention to on that outside, Devontae Adams, but going to be a pitch here to Jones. Gets outside the numbers. Tries to make a good cutback. But solid defense overall here from Baltimore.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want to do. I mean, you want to make sure that you guys are solid on the edge, and if the game plan is to eat up the clock by running the ball, you just have to make sure your guys are great open field tacklers.
Yeah, I think establishing that run here is also something really important to keep in mind. He's going to go with the pass off the screen off to Jones again, but taking these light plays, move the chains and eat that clock up. In Madden, it is so easy when you're in these positions. If you get rolling, especially if you're able to get like that superstar X factor going on one of these players. I've got my eyes on Lamar Jackson for that, of course, because once he gets in the zone, he can't fumble anymore, which is really, really strong if you're able to pick up yards with him. These are the kinds of things that you get that lead, you chew that clock up, you don't want to give your opponent those opportunities to score those points. And with those last couple of short plays, making a little bit of movement, we end the first quarter of our PS4 Grand Final Game 1. And I think we set ourselves up for a pretty big third down. You definitely can't afford to lose yards here. I don't think it would be surprising to see him go for it if he had to, but getting the first down, I think one of the most important things he could do.
Oh, that's a great
There it is.
play
He
to
picks it up.
Lamar.
Yes. Opted for the quick pass, not allowing the defense to get to the quarterback. Excellent decision.
Yeah, phenomenal play. And even still, you're seeing Terry make some adjustments, obviously going to those coaching options and recognize, this kind of check down pass that, the Packers are known for actually as well with Jones and just how lethality it provides. Going into a wildcat as well. This is not a look from the Packers I've seen in my 30 years of watching. So I'm for it though, man. I'm down. I'm down. Taking Rodgers off the
Hey,
field, huh?
you know what? Yeah, listen, why not make the defense kind of defend the entire field? Come out with the wildcat play, see what you can get, and then look at the defense, see how they adjusted to it. Maybe a play that you can take advantage of later on.
Yeah, I say if anything, you're establishing some confusion, right? When you've got Aaron Rodgers at
Yes.
quarterback, putting anybody else back there to receive the snap, you're kind of asking for that big pressure to get the stop. Goes for the screen of Valdez-Scantling, not picking up too much, but quick into the no huddle. Let's see if he sticks with it. 3rd and 7, not as much room to wiggle for the dump pass, but everybody's playing up real close. And it looks like he's going to get it out to Jones again for that first down. And I love this. Chewing up the clock inside that red zone and looking like he's in a really good spot. That defense, I'm a little bit surprised with how close up he's been playing. He hasn't been able to really punish these short plays that he's going for. He's leaving the back of the field so open on a lot of these, but he's still getting chewed up in the short game.
Well, that's excellent game plan and execution by Torrey. With the vertical routes, getting all the defenders to back off and then hitting that check down in the flats. That's smart.
I mean, that's just the Packers offense in a nutshell, right? You have those deep threats down the middle of the field. I saw a crossing pattern that looked like he had something for a good 40, 50 yards, but even still, it's like he takes the free one, check down and still gets a good 20 plus. I mean, Nick, obviously a ton of experience with that in real life. How do you defend against that? What kind of things are you expecting here now out of Terry to make those adjustments so he can stop this, dual threat of, long ball or check down?
Well, no one is though Torrey has some excellent offensive weapons. You have to honor and respect their speed down the field, and you just have to be able to rally and make sure that you're able to find the closest defender to the run. I mean, check downs equals first downs equals a touchdown. So take away the deep plays, rally up and take away the short stuff and make sure that you can tackle well.
Yeah, can't give up any of those extra yards, huh? In these spots, like he's still moving forward, 9-yard line now, and a score here puts this game into a frustrating position because then you're going to lose the option to play that slow game. You're going to lose the option to run the ball as much as the Ravens have been trying to in this matchup because you got to make up those points. So Terry Jackson, a stop here for him would be huge. If even forcing a field goal would be incredible. But this Packers offense, Lawler, he just has not been stopped moving down. And that's going to put a lot of pressure on Lamar Jackson to try and make some deep throws and open things up for those cornerbacks to make a game-winning play potentially.
I mean, it's multiple facets here, Nathanias. The ability to not just only chew up so much time on this clock. We talked about entering the second quarter, and this drive is still happening. He throws it into a threat. It's a touchdown. What a play here coming out from Torrey. And you can see that grin. He almost had it, but it ended up getting dropped. So 4th and 4, going to go for the field goal. That's a massive play for Terry Jackson.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you wanted to do, to make sure you keep the offense from scoring and forcing them to settle for a field goal. So Terry now finds himself in a great position. Now he needs to come back down. He needs to score. But I'm still wondering if he's going to stick with the strategy of running the ball, because now if you can pass the ball and get an explosive play, now you put yourself in the ball game.
Yeah, that's what I'm really interested to see is what kind of play he's going to open up with here. I don't think you want to, in this situation, you want to get the touchdown, but you also want to make sure you're not leaving any time on the clock for Aaron Rodgers to try and throw it towards Devontae Adams on a big half-ending play or anything like that. So get the big yardage. I think if he can get past that 40, 30-yard marker, if he's playing at worst for the field goal, then maybe you chew it up, get a little bit closer. But he still needs something nice here because the last thing we want to talk about, this game did start with the ball going to the Ravens. So if he gets stuffed here or Green Bay picks up any points before the half, Green Bay's getting the ball back after too. So it's not going to get any easier. This game could get really, really dark for him. Throws it deep. He's got the There it is.
Yes. I told you. Yes, the explosive play was coming. I didn't know who was going to go to, but there it is. Terry Jackson is on the board.
You know, man, you see all these plays of working down, very methodical, and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna throw one up. I'm gonna give it a shot, and just like that, we're talking 30 seconds later, it's equalized. What a beautiful play here from Terry Jackson.
Oh man, that's crazy. Yeah. Well, look at the teams that we've got playing right between Lamar and Aaron Rodgers. The option for that deep throw is always going to be on the table every single play. Takes advantage of it on the first play of the drive. This does give a lot of time now for Torrey to get down the field himself, try and pick up those points. He still has the position where if he picks up any points, as long as he can get through the time that's on the clock, he's not going to give the Ravens an opportunity to get that score back. So he can still get a 2-possession lead if he's able to score on this drive and score on the coming up second half kickoff.
That was the only problem from Terry scoring so fast. You leave so much time on the clock for Aaron Rodgers to work. And it seems that at some point, okay, this might be it right here. Here's the play action play. He finds a receiver across the field. Now Terry's got to come up with something defensively to slow them down.
Again, very aggressive here from Torrey, loving what he's doing, obviously, with trying to set that up. And it's going to be difficult. Obviously, you see Terry a lot messing with those curl flats and those hooks just based upon how much threat he wants to apply on the back end. Ultimately, I think it's going to have to be a user situation where he's following a dedicated receiver as a player and hoping that at some point he can either make a play or, trust his AI to get in that right position and then obviously go for a user pick or even a bat down. At this point, preventing anything whatsoever, because if Torrey gets a score here and the ball back, it's back to that same situation we were just in, despite that huge threat from Terry downfield.
And he's got he ends up with a one-on-one matchup against Davante Adams on the outside there. Easy first down pickup, gets that timeout going. He's got 40 seconds from the 30-yard line with one more timeout. I think it's a bit unfortunate he wasn't able to get out of bounds. He'd have a lot more options there, but it's still been a really nice drive down the field. Looking at that nickel 3-3-5 he was bringing out earlier, there's a lot of good man coverage plays in there, but you got to be super careful when you've got wide receivers like Davante Adams. They're going to get that one-on-one separation, and he's going to pick those yards up every time.
Yeah, I'm wondering at what point with Terry being in a nickel package, whether he's going to try to blitz at some point.
Oh, that's a great play.
Aaron Jones with a quick play and get out of bounds. Smart.
Yeah, and he can hit those guys more, right? If he's playing with all those defensive backs and not bringing the linebackers on the field.
That's just great play calling by Torrey Humphrey.
Yeah, the one thing about getting a nickel package, you get more speed on the field, but it depends on the utilization of what play you're calling at that time.
It gives it to Jones again.
Nice little juke move right there. I like it.
Yeah, you think he's going for that out of bounds, but he's like, whoop, and he's gone back inside. Great play to get an extra few and still stop the clock. So, again, Green Bay looking no matter what, they're going to pull 3 off of this and get the ball back. Pretty scary here for Terry. A big stop.
But here's what Terry's thinking. He's like, look, I stopped him before. I'm going to try to do it again. Maybe he can come up with some kind of savvy defensive play right here to make sure that he keeps him off the board.
He's got everybody pressed up close. Rodgers dropping back. He's going to hit Scantling on the slant, close up 2-yard line. I think he still has that one timeout. He's going to no huddle spike it though. Wants to keep that timeout option. Is he keeping this? You think for a possible maybe a run just in case he wants to have that chance, Nick?
Well, that's what I thought when he kind of killed the clock. Setting up a run play, maybe off tackle play, that play has been successful, or he throws it out into the flat.
And there it is. Goes for Jones up the middle again to the 1. Has to use that timeout there. So we see, took the clock spike so he could have the opportunity to run the ball again without ending the half. But now, 3rd and goal on the 1. There's 9 seconds. He can't afford to take it a tackle behind the line. And is he gonna actually? Yeah, he's gonna line up and take that field goal. Doesn't want to leave anything to chance here since he's getting the ball back.
Yeah, you want to take those points, man. You don't want to go into a half and have that question of why I didn't actually go for it. We had that last year, this past year. when the Bucks face the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers was wondering why, Matt LaFleur didn't allow him to go for it on fourth down. So sticking with that, take the points on the board.
Yeah, again, an important play, obviously, on the back end. You don't want to leave those on, especially in a game like this where, it is a best of one format. Those little things can come back to bite you. So take the guarantee, you're getting the ball back, and then you can go march down the field again. Because from what we've seen so far from Torrey's offense, Terry hasn't been able to do much. He's had some crucial plays to stop, the big point drives, but overall, moving down the field has not been a problem.
No, it hasn't
No.
really been a problem. But once again, speaking for Terry, Terry has had that bend but don't break defense. They've moved the ball down the field, the Packers that is, but Terry somehow his defense seems to show up in clutch situations.
Yeah, and we get on to the second half now of this game. So we were talking about that. Packers going to receive. So that field goal ends up turning into a potential 2-possession lead if he's able to get down the field and score. There's going to be a huge amount of pressure on Baltimore. Not only, of course, if you're down 10 points, you need to get the touchdown in this situation, but you need to get the ball back and score again. And we're playing 5-minute quarters, and with the way that we've seen Green Bay moving down the field with Aaron Jones, with those check down passes, hitting those slants on the low throws, he's been doing a phenomenal job of obliterating that clock. And if I'm Terry Jackson right now, I'm looking at this situation and I'm feeling like I need to get a big stop. I can't just let him move down the field and chew that whole clock marching down for the score, because I feel like that might be what we see out of Humphrey.
Well, here's the thing right now. Here's what Terry's thinking about. Do I take a risk, a gamble, try to blitz a guy off the edge, leaving someone open downfield, but he needs to make a play defensively to put this game more in his favor?
Again, we're going to see, obviously, Torrey here. Checked on that flat, man. It's so difficult to defend. But I do agree, obviously, here with Nick. What Terry's been doing with that defense, that stalwart defense, especially on the back end, has been good. But again, when there's this much space to work with, and that could have been a big play, he's going to go for the deep threat, and it's an aggressive catch, and he ends up dropping it. Almost a
Great
huge
job.
play.
Yes. See, once again, this is why Terry feels though he has as much chance to win this game as Torrey, is because his defense has kept him in his game and they continue to make plays. It's just his offense hasn't really got on track yet.
Yeah, still waiting for that spark, right? Still waiting for that spark. And we're looking for the defensive play call now as he comes back up in that gun. He's got 4 wide. Still always have to be watching for that short dump off pass, that handoff to Jones, who's been running away with this game. Honestly, it feels like he's just been doing so well outside of that deep pass. He wasn't able to get, throws it to Jones again. He's going to pick up that first down. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Moving the sticks. And he's really, really leaning on the running back. He's got, I think you said it perfectly earlier, Nick. He's playing with all these deep routes on the wide receivers. All the defensive backs have to run out. So you've got one guy versus Aaron Jones. Are you going to be able to stop him from picking up 3 or 4 yards? The answer to that's been no so far today.
No, Terry hasn't done a great job of that as far as stopping that play. But, tackling at the point of attack, he's done that well. But there's Aaron Jones off the right-hand side for another huge gain.
Great patience by Torrey on the back end as well in that wildcat. It's weird for me to see the Packers play with a wildcat, but honestly, I'm enjoying it. The ability to add that extra threat, it just runs it straight up the gut. That's very dangerous as well, because Terry, who's been doing, a phenomenal job on defense, he's shutting down some big plays. Those ones underneath have been absolutely almost a pick, but it's going to be Mercedes Lewis picking up a couple extra on the back end.
That's a sweaty moment right there, Madden.
That was a glitch in the game. That was a glitch. I had that ball.
I was going to say 99% of times if I try to make a throw like that in Madden, it's going back to the house for 6 the other way. I don't think I've ever completed a pass when the guy was that close to getting his hands on it.
That's what happens when you're using Big Dog. I don't know if you guys have been able to partake and see the ridiculousness that is the Green Bay Packers in the gold zone, as they call it. But anytime Mercedes Lewis gets a touchdown, they all bark at him because he's Big Dog, and it's absolutely fantastic.
Incredible. Screen out to Jones again. He's been loving this. Been loving it. Picks up 10. Looks like, yeah, second in inches. Oh, how much more of a comfortable position could you be in? Not only we talk about this, he's obviously made it down the field now. Great position to be in, but there's only 2 minutes in the third. So he's basically going to say, okay, you've got the last, you might have just the last 5 minutes of the game. If I'm able to chew the clock out on a few more downs, punching it in here, that you're going to need to pick up those 2 scores. And that is not going to be easy at all. Breaking out the goal line formation here on the 8-yard line. He's got it. Looks like
It looks like he has it up until that carry. It was like the Aaron Jones drive for most part of this game. So once again, Torrey is doing a great job of utilizing his running backs, getting them involved, chewing up clock, putting pressure on Terry to have one of those. Once again, amazing goal line stops. There it is. Could that have been the dagger for Terry right there?
Oh
Nate,
man, that's
you've been in those situations a little bit, and we've seen Terry. He can hit a deep threat real quick. It's just the difficulty is if you can't stop Green Bay from putting up points, I don't know what you're gonna do. So again, I think it really comes down, and Nate, I wonder if you agree, is that defense from Terry's got to make a big stop. He's got to go here, score pretty quick, and then as soon as that ball gets back, what was essentially a forward in a couple drive. That's not going to do it. That's very lethal.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, just from a Madden focus perspective, is that you only gonna have so many opportunities. A lot of guys will surrender in these kinds of situations because they'll just when you're just playing on the ladder when there's nothing at stake because it is so hard. Your options get limited. You're not just going to be going for those 3 or 4 yard dump offs at this point. You're looking for a big payday on every play. He's going to get sacked. He's not able to find it. He doesn't have the vision on it. Goes into the no huddle, just trying to get right back on, but he's backed up 11 yards. And this just kind of further cements what I was saying. His only option is to still just try to chuck it deep. That one's going to get batted out, trying to get it out of his hand. So the 2 incompletions he's had this game right in a row, and all of a sudden you're 3rd and 21. Well, there's not a whole lot of plays that get written up for this situation, I can imagine.
But just think about the game plan that Torrey just kind of displayed. Run the ball, utilize my backs, throw it in the flat, take a shot down the field, put pressure on, Terry. Now Terry is in all pass mode. Now you can pin your ears back as defenders, and you can run all kind of inside twists to make sure Lamar can't step up in the pocket.
I mean, not only that, with those 2 back-to-back plays for Lamar Jackson, now he's fatigued as well. So going to be difficult because here comes the pressure from Green Bay. And honestly,
there it is, right there. I just called it.
There is your dagger.
Wow. See, that's the whole thing. But, if you want to run the ball, you have to be effective, right? And then once you get inside the red zone, you have to score. If you're able to do that, now you put pressure on your opponent. But if you're running the ball and you don't score inside the red zone, now to me, your opponent has an opportunity. But once again, I go back to this. Excellent game plan and execution by Torrey.
Could not agree more. And there's not really there's no good moves here. If you don't punt the ball, picking up 30 yards is not something that he's been able to do right for the first 3 plays. There's no magic reason to assume he'll just get it here. So if you got to just hope for, again, now you need 2 big defensive stops, not just that one that we were talking about before, because you can't afford to give up the ball on the 5-yard line and go down 3 scores in the fourth quarter because then it's over.
Well, the Packers get excellent field position right here.
Yeah, it's going to be a big play. Obviously, now you're talking a guy who's been able to march downfield and kill that clock. Able to keep it pretty, I think, stagnant. Just a lot of run, draw the clock. I think for this situation, the benefit for Terry, and something that we can talk about again in detail, is that format. Right now, they are playing a best of 1. So whoever wins this obviously has the chance to close it out. But because Torrey has come from the lower bracket and Terry has yet to lose, they've got to run it back. So obviously, Torrey hoping to close this one off and then obviously change that mindset into the next one that has everything on the line.
So, guys, if you're Terry, knowing what the circumstances are right now, Do you just kind of go man-to-man coverage and send that all-out blitz, hoping that maybe you force a turnover, you get a big sack?
I think you have to try to force the mistake. The only thing about it that makes me nervous is these heavy plays where he's been running like this extra guy going in on the blitz. He's had these flats open, and now I mean, hitting Lazard there is obviously great, but the fact that he's able to get that kind of spot open deep in the field is a testament to the pressure that he's been putting on the low and on the outside. So I don't know that there's like I guess if I felt was in this situation where I can't give up, right? There's something on the line, my pride's on the line, or I really want to beat this guy no matter what. Yeah, I think you have to at this point take some risks. You just kind of have to make those educated guesses as to what you're going to be able to grab. That's a nice dive there, shuts it down early. I don't know that forcing the field goal here gives you everything you want, but we're a couple of first downs away from him just running the clock out.
Yeah, you got to be a little aggressive here. You got to take some risks. I mean, you're down by 10 points. You need the ball back, and you need to. Well, that's not going to help giving the ball to Aaron Jones, picking up another couple of yards. So you're chewing up clock. Pressure's on Terry. He's got to come up with something big right here.
Yeah, if I'm Terry at this point and you're not putting on a big pressure play or trying to find, a pick or, a strip sack, whatever you can. To me, if I'm Terry, I'm looking at this. I'm like, I've got 5 minutes to decompress. I got 5 minutes to game plan. I've got 5 minutes to try to learn and adapt as quickly as possible. I'm going to take this time to, be a bit more aggressive. I know I can get punished for that, but my focus is on the next match. My focus is, I understand that I'm kind of out of this one most likely, but there's things that I can learn from this to better me in that bracket reset.
Yeah, I like that approach. Just take the final minutes of this game, trying to play, your defense, move guys around, but still, learn for the next match. If you face Centauri again, looking at the things that he likes to do, dumping it off to the flat, we saw with the Wildcat, and maybe you come back in the next game, and now you can, from a strategy standpoint, put your players in better position to make plays.
Yeah, I think my biggest takeaway strategy wise on this one going into a reset, the biggest things that you got to have in mind is getting that contain on Aaron Jones, because he's if I'm going to name an MVP for this game that we've been watching so far, it has to be him. He's gotten the dump offs on the outside, he's gotten the screens, he's hit those flats. Covering those short zones on the outside is going to be so important for getting that. Just force him to do something else. Even if Aaron Rodgers is able to make those deep throws, at least force him to switch that game plan up and move on to his plan B, right? You don't want to let him just keep being able to make that spot over and over. And I'd like to see him try to get Lamar Jackson on the outside a little bit more. He's looked a bit stiff in the pocket on some of these plays. Haven't really seen him trying to use that escape artist to get to the outside, and goes for the deep throw. That's one of those shutdown game over kind of picks. He's up 13. Now Green Bay's got the ball again. I don't think you could ask for too much more on the way that's set up. He has to pass the ball because he's down 13 points, and that just takes so much pressure off the defense.
Yeah, it has. And the one thing that we have not seen was the utilization of Lamar Jackson as a runner, as though, Torrey has done when he's doing it right once again with Aaron Jones as he gets to the outside. Why do you hesitate for a second?
Oh no.
Oh,
hit him
no,
with that dad
showtime.
leg and showboats it into the end zone.
Wow. If it wasn't bad enough that Torrey was having a great game, then he just had to showboat at the tail end of that play. Wow.
Hey man, he's feeling confident, and I think that's kind of a testament to his whole bracket here, Nick. Guy gets knocked down in the first round into the lower bracket and just crushes through to get here. So now, at this point, we can focus on the future. It's neutral ground, and right now, this offense, Aaron Jones, you talked about it at the very beginning, Nick. As soon as that score happened, you're like, yeah, you've got to make this offense one-dimensional. You got to find a way to stop this run play. Nate hit it on the nail on the head, too. You have to find a way to shut down Aaron Jones, make him force that deep ball threat, because if he doesn't, this dual threat with Wildcat and everything else that Torrey's throwing, honestly, it looks unstoppable right now. I don't care how good Terry's defense has been in the red zone.
Well, I'll tell you what, Torrey with that early exit, he seems like he's upset. He's playing like a man on fire. He's ready to scorch this tournament. He added insult to injury by not kicking a field goal, but going for two. So it's going to be really interesting once these two, match up again and see how Terry actually kind of finds a way to slow down Torrey.
Yeah, that has to be one of the biggest things to take away from that. It might seem like it's a little bit unnecessary. It might seem like it's a little bit extra, but A, the competitive fire, these guys don't want to give up anything. But B, going into that reset, if you can get a little bit of the mental advantage, if he gets inside his head even a little bit and he's thinking about that 2-point conversion, if he's thinking about this game during the next one and those things that are happening now, like when it's kind of already decided, I think that's where he really gets the best mileage out of that, because you absolutely I don't know, like when you get into a long Madden grinding session and you get a couple of games that end like that, I know that sometimes you end up taking it into the next game, and the only thing that does is make you play worse. So finding a way to refocus, at least take this kind of time and just say, all right, not going to be able to do this, but how will I adjust going into the next game? You have to be ready to compartmentalize this one, learn something from it, but move on and get that reset for game two.
Yeah, I would definitely have to agree with that. And for Baltimore and their offense, they haven't been able to get into anything of a rhythm. And you look at the wide receiver options, I always look at ball distribution. How effective are you moving the ball around to different receivers? And I'm not seeing a lot of that. And that has definitely hurt Terry today.
Now, Nick, for you, obviously, we talk a lot of correlation between sports, traditional sports, and esports. In the regards to the mentality, the ability to put yourself in a mindset that's really positive. You're a player like, Torrey, who's now up by a bunch. As you, as a player who's been obviously on the field, you've been living it. What does it do for a defense? Just your mentality to be like, yo, we're up by like 20. Like, do you guys like you just go ball out? You feel more confident. You can be more aggressive. Like, what does that do for you as a player in the mindset of the whole, I guess, outcome of that game?
Well, it definitely helps because to know that your offense can move the ball down effectively, whether they're throwing it vertically or they're dumping it off to the running back in the flat, it keeps you fresh. So once you get back on the field, I mean, you want to go out there and you want to reward them. So and that's exactly what we saw. Torrey did a great job of running the ball and taking time off the clock when he had opportunity scores. He took advantage of it. He put Terry on his heels, and you know at the very beginning you got that first turnover. It's like, okay, well, maybe that is going to give us some indication of what this game is going to be. But it just kind of totally changed, and the utilization once again, whether it's Madden or in the real game, is can you utilize your running backs and put them in a position to be successful? And Torrey did a great job of that.
Yeah, he takes that game win, and we're talking about that reset and that next game to decide it all between the two of them. But I couldn't agree with you more. And those adjustments, I love you talking about ball distribution, because at least on Torrey's side, he didn't end up needing to really give it to anybody other than Jones. So what I want to see,
just like real life, bro. Just like real life. It's just how it goes.
I gotta see that user control on the linebackers, right? Or on the outside. He's been playing with those dump off plays to Jones so much. Make him air it out a little bit, right? Let's give the corners a chance to make a play. But it's been really hard, because every single time that he tried to go in on Aaron Rodgers, it was whoop, off to Jones on the side. He's got one or two guys to beat, and he's been picking up 7-8 yards at a time. It's a brutal way to get taken down in the game, because it just seemed like he had his number too the whole time.
But here's what I'll say about Terry. Everything you said is correct. Now, as Terry tries to strategize, well, what am I going to do, moving forward? If he tries to take away the flat route, what's coming, right? That vertical passing game, those dig routes, that 10 to 15 yards, that's where Aaron Rodgers will now start to throw the ball. So the pressure is on Terry. Can he handle it? Is he going to come out too aggressive, trying to make plays and expose his guys in the back end? And we already know, we just watched this Packer offense. Once they get into a rhythm and they move the ball down the field, they cannot be stopped.
Hey, man, we talked a lot about Terry's perspective, what he's got to do on defense, these adjustments. But at the same time, Torrey's going to try to stay ahead. Torrey's going to be sitting there and be paying attention to this and be like, yo, I just decimated this guy, obviously, with the ability to use Aaron Jones. That's going to be his main focus. So how can I trick him into thinking that Aaron Jones is still my big threat? He's got to be that one step ahead. So I'm looking forward to this next match and what these adjustments come in turning out to be.
Yeah, I can't wait to see any adjustments that come in or how he tries to mix it up, and the way that we bring those out. So as we get into this, then how are we feeling about Torrey's mindset then going into this game, Nick? Is he just riding high? Does he feel like he has any pressure to change up what he's doing, or I don't know? Give me the thoughts from the mind of a player.
Well, there's no pressure on Torrey. I mean, he just came out and had a well-oiled machine. All the pressure is on Terry because we saw the utilization of Aaron Jones, and we didn't really see a lot of Devontae Adams. So for Torrey, he's like, look, hey, I can go down the field vertically. I can throw it in the flat. How will Terry adjust to what I'm doing? And we saw Terry try to use a lot of nickel defense, but now he's going to have to do something entirely different. I don't know in this game because it's win or go home. You drop a second game in a row. He's going to have to take more chances than he took in the first game. Once again, from an offensive standpoint, utilize Lamar Jackson. We didn't really see him get on the edge. We saw him staring down the field, trying to get that big home run play, the play that kind of got him on the board, a couple of sacks, moved him back into his own territory. So the pressure's on Terry. Let's see what Terry comes out and do in this next game.
All right. Well, we are ready to get into that game and see what happens. I couldn't agree more with you, by the way. I think anybody who's been playing, especially Madden 21, there's nobody who's played this game that hasn't experienced going up against that guy who just runs the quarterback draw option plays nonstop, audible left and right with Lamar Jackson. You can't catch up with him. You can't keep up with him. And of course, in Madden, maybe it's a little bit easier to make the quarterback fumble than in real life sometimes because they got to keep it a little bit balanced. You got to stop him somehow, right? There needs to be some penalty for just running up the field all constantly with him. But the fact that we haven't seen that at all has been the biggest surprise to me. So I would love to have that, Nick. I'd love to see a little bit of that outside play, especially since with the superstar X Factor, he has the ability to throw on the run. He has that power. He'll make those throws accurately if he has to go outside the pocket. So at the very least, if he wants to throw the ball, I still love to see him, keep him honest, force him to bring an extra guy up, force him to keep one of those defensive backs on a spy or something.
Yeah, absolutely. But we get our first chance to see what Terry's going to come out to do with his game plan or newfound game plan and moving into game 2.
Going to be another run up the middle with Dobbins. Not a bad way to start things off. He's just going to move straight up, pick up those 10 yards, and get right back into it. I think establishing that run, we kind of talked about it last game. It's nice. It's important. He hasn't had the same level of success as Torrey, right, with his running back and going up and whatnot, as he's basically been able to completely lean on him. But now he's going to go for that quick dump pass off to Boykin. Gets up another couple of yards there. Nothing crazy, but I like this. Taking some safe plays, establishing a little bit of a rhythm, and not putting too much pressure on himself to feel like he needs to rush things because of the way the last game went.
No, in the first game, it was 2 run plays up the middle. Now it's a run play and the pass out on into the flat. So let's see what he does here.
I like this. Yeah. He's kind of taken some of those plays out of his playbook, huh?
No, I mean it's a fantastic play, Nathanias. Obviously, we're seeing a lot of different looks already. 3rd and inch is a big one here. Obviously, wants to get some, and that should be an easy way to do it. But at this point, Terry's just trying to beat Torrey at his own game, and I think that's a fantastic way to start it off.
Well, yeah, if someone is doing something and they're being successful, I mean, there's nothing wrong with trying to adopt it and duplicate it. Hey, they say that the league is a copycat league, and we're seeing that right now in game 2.
Oh yeah, and now it begs the question: is how are we going to see Torrey respond to seeing his own kind of plays being thrown at him constantly? And I do wonder if the way that he tries to adjust for these screens might be something that Terry ends up taking when he's back on the defensive side of the ball. There's a good shutdown there. It's one of the first times we've seen those screen plays get stuffed. On 2nd 11 now, looking a little bit deeper with the throw. There's that screen again to Dobbins, not quite able to pick up the yardage he needs. So on 3rd and 8, Is he going to throw this? Is it going to be the screen again? Are we going to get it one more time? Another dump off pass, you think, Nick?
Well, you know what? It's open, it's there, but it's 3rd and 8. You need to pick up 9 to 10 yards for the first down. I look, hey, run the play, but throw the ball down the field vertically.
Oh, and he's got him on the outside. Did he
Oh,
get the catch?
did he get his feet in?
I think on the PlayStation, that's that X button. You want to get that possession catch on the sideline. And in Madden, there's a couple of different ways to get that. That's the last time you want to take that aggressive, but it looks like he's got it. Great job getting both feet inside. And that's one of the nice things about this package. It messes up with that coverage a lot with people that are trying to follow the receivers going towards those outside plays, and comes in with the motion on Brown to the right side. I still want to see him run it with Lamar. He's had a couple of lanes open for it, but I guess if he's going to make these passes, it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. And Terry's coming out with an excellent game plan as he calls a hurry up right now. I like the formation, trips left, close right, and he sets the running back up for a great play. Right there. This is Terry showing as though he's adjusted. Now he's trying to do things a little different than he did in game 1.
And he gets a timeout out of Torrey there too. He's like, okay, stop this. We got to slow this down. This no huddle offense was getting a lot of yards very quickly. He's on the 2-yard line. It's first down. He's got all the time in the world. And I'd still say this is one of those moments. Maybe you go for that handoff, bring Lamar around the bootleg, just get outside somebody, run it in. He's starting to stack that box a little bit. We can see up the middle. Dobbins going to try and take it. Stuffed.
Oh, it was open for just a second, but Torrey shut it down very quickly.
All right, second try coming up here. Off to Dobbins on the right side. Gets to the 1, but it's 3rd and goal. Still has not been able to make it happen. That right side getting stacked. Hardy's got Smith on the left outside. Dumps it off to Duvernay.
Oh,
get it. There you go. Oh, that's that brutal one.
Now we have a game. Yes, now we have a game. Now Terry is now feeling a little more confident about this game than he did in game 1, and it just seems as though it looks a little different. In the first game, we saw Torrey moving the ball down the field, great defensive plays by Terry, but now it just seems like as though the shoe is on the other foot. So let's see what Torrey does with his offense.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the telling statement, obviously, for all of us, is Terry comes out, he's aggressive, he's not backing down from the challenge, and now Torrey's got to make that game plan adjustment, right? The pressure's back on him. He's still been able to showcase if he can, continue to do what he's been doing with Aaron Jones. I think that's probably the approach I would take, Nate. I don't know if you agree. It works so effectively with Aaron Jones. I think you want to force Terry to show that he can stop it before you go away from it immediately.
Yeah, he definitely wants to put the fear in him that it's going to be the same sort of trouble that he had in the last game. And if he's able to step up to the plate and shut it down, then you can start to mix it up a little bit more. But I guess that may not be the case. He's just going full 5 wide here. Doesn't even have Jones in that backfield. Could still end up trying to dump it off to him. But I think that you always want to make sure you're keeping your opponent honest, not saying I'm going to change my strategy just because I won with the first game. But there it is. A nice pass to Davante Adams, able to get that first down to start this drive off. And I couldn't agree with you guys more, by the way. Worth pointing out just one more time, that last game, the first drive, it was like 2 or 3 plays in, he had that scoop and score touchdown. So Pack started up 7 points without really having to do a whole lot after that big defensive stop. So being able to say, okay, I've actually got the lead for once in this match, it's got to be a good feeling for Terry.
Absolutely, and he got that stuff right there on Aaron Jones. That was a play in game 1 that Torrey went to several times, and it was really effective. But Terry did a great job of shutting it down.
Hit Davante Adams again for another deep shot there. And obviously having a target like that has to make you so comfortable. You're not really worried about, Davante dropping the ball. If he's able to get it near him, Rodgers, well, that's kind of what he does, right? So he's utilizing a different sort of game plan. And the focus hasn't been as much on feeding Jones. He's going to hit him now, but that's the first time that he's kind of taken that shot in this drive, and it actually nets him a loss. Good adjustments it looks like that Terry's been able to make on the defensive side to kind of stop these screens from breaking the game down for him. Oh, tip
Oh,
ball.
absolutely. As the ball is up, oh, I
My
mean,
heart
Terry's
stops.
playing, yes, Terry playing great defense. He did in the first game, but he did it inside the red zone. But he's picking up from what he learned from the first game, taking away those short, quick passes. But here's what Torrey can definitely excel. When that back is offset and he brings that guy in motion, now he can either run the slant and get that back out in the flat. Still something that could press Terry's defense, but let's just see how he adjusts to that moving forward.
We get
Curious on
that
how this
first
one's going to
timeout.
develop. Yeah, first time out, obviously, needs to take a little bit of a thought on this one. It's a pretty big play, 3rd and 15. Obviously, same. Oh, he's going to move him out to, okay. I'm curious on how he's going to play this.
He's looking for a mismatch on the coverage there with Aaron Jones, but the safety kind of pulled up on him, so he didn't have that available, and unfortunately just could not get it there, batted away. 4th and 15. I think you're down 7 points after the performance in that first game. I don't think there's any pressure to force it here. Don't give up the good field position. Just take the punt. Try to keep it in on the inside, of course, if you can. Get some good field position for your defense and just get back to work.
The vibe of this game 2, is so different than it was in game 1. If you're Terry, you're playing with a little confidence. You were able to come out and stop Torrey, who was really effective. Anytime he had the ball, he was moving it down with rhythm. And now you drop one of your defensive linemen in coverage. He bats away a pass. You get the ball back with good field position. Now let's see if Terry can take advantage of this and go up early.
Now he's going to hit
Nick, you
Boykin
mentioned it.
real quick.
Yeah, great play. Obviously, check down over to Boykin and getting to that flat. But, Nick, you mentioned it, being part on that defense and being able to watch your team go down and score and being able to reward them on defense. I think now that that pressure's kind of off initially for Terry, he's not dealing with that turnover. The ability to just go and, put your plan into action, I think does so much as well. The ability to just say, hey, I can make adjustments. I can be confident in what I'm doing. And as of right now, it's a completely different look from what we saw in game 1. The ability for Terry to just basically pick apart this defense.
If I have to say one thing, I've
Yeah, you
still
can see that
never
Terry's
seen
playing.
anybody.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say he's just playing so conservatively with Lamar. I'm still waiting to see him try to run it with him.
No, Terry's playing with a lot of confidence. He's playing more relaxed than he did in game 1 because obviously, based on how things are working out, he doesn't really have to press as much. Now he can really open his playbook. Now he can find the wide receivers in the flats. He can throw the Boykin. That play seemed to be working for him. So he's playing a little more calm and a little more relaxed right now.
And he has that comfortable position now, having the lead too, where he's not pressed for time. If he wants to run the ball up, and that's actually a really big miss there on the defensive tackle, able to get up to that first down. But now he can be the one that tries to keep this run game going as he gets closer to that red zone, chew the clock out, and deny Torrey those opportunities, cut off some time so that he can't just try to get this game back. Because I think that's the most important thing. If Torrey doesn't have the lead, then running the ball and kind of playing that chew the clock out style like he had last game, it's not going to be anywhere near as effective because he's one bad play away from, denying himself any time to try and get a comeback going. And good wrap up, good stop here. Nothing big picked up and could get to that 2-minute warning, but he's still getting the clock down while he's getting close to that, I think, decently field goal range, just about, almost.
Yeah, but see, that's the difference between playing from behind and playing with somewhat of a lead. And I know it's only, leading, but Terry's only leading by 7 points. Now he's milking the clock without actually running the ball because he's allowing that clock to go down. Torrey is now trying to figure out, okay, well, what is my best play I can utilize on defense to at least limit the plays that Terry's throwing at him, hoping to get the ball back before halftime.
Yeah, it's really important being able to just dictate the way the match is played. You said, it's only one score, but it just that lack of pressure, that ability to kind of just associate to how do I want to approach this? How do I want to do this? You don't have that pressure on you having to be like, oh, I've got to play catch up. So for Terry, it just gives him so many more options, the ability to, come in calm and collected. He can slow play this or play it as quick as he wants. If he has that deep threat that he wants to go for, it's a one more facet that he can work with. While Torrey, on the other hand, is trying to play catch up. So again, Terry, completely different look this game. Loving absolutely how he's executing. And seeing if he can close this one out. Again, he's just going to chew that clock and not give any time back to Torrey if he can get a score here.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, and for Terry, I mean, he's in scoring position right now, whether 7 points or kicking a field goal. So he's going to get points before the half for sure.
exactly. That's what I was going to say. Because, he did get the ball to start. So I just keeping track of that. Green Bay is going to get the ball. Torrey will get the ball to start the second half no matter what happens. It would be amazing for him if he had any chance to put points up and get that done and then get the ball back. And he could, start to look at a situation where he can take that lead to start the second half. So if if you're able to get that big stuff, maybe that stick just sways a little bit when he's trying to make that kick, doesn't quite go in. Who knows? Anything becomes possible. But I think just about out of timeout. So 3rd and 9, a stop here would be huge because even if he does get that kick, he has an opportunity to try and score before the half. And since he's going to get that ball back, that's all I'm thinking about right now. It's a very high pressure situation. You don't want to give up the first down, but it would be if you can force a field goal here, it would be so huge.
Oh, that's a
Oh,
massive
incomplete
play.
pass. Wow. He needed that. Terry needed that big time.
Yeah, I was curious on what
Huge
Terry
And here's
was
stop.
what I
going to do on
love
that situation.
Yeah. Here's what I love what Torrey did. He started moving his defenders around. He even dropped guys, from the D line in the coverage, trying to take away those short intermediate routes. But that was a play that Terry definitely wanted, but he still was able to get points on the board. So let's see what Torrey can do. Let's see. He still has over a minute remaining in the game. Maybe he takes a shot down the field. Maybe it's Devontae Adams. Maybe it's one of those big plays off the right-hand side to Aaron Jones. Who knows?
If he can't get out of bounds on a deep throw, that clock is going to be putting a lot of pressure on him, though. So I do wonder if it's going to be that super deep shot or if he's going to be playing with one of those posts to the outside or something like that. Maybe try to work his way up 10, 15 yards on the sidelines at a time if Terry takes that defensive setup too far deep into the field. But here we go. He's going to take it back at that trips TE. He's looking on the outside. There it is, Valdes-Scantling. And picking up some yards up to the 39. Still got a lot to do, but only 4 seconds off the clock for that play. Not bad at all.
Yeah, Torrey's doing a phenomenal job with
No,
that play call. Giving himself options, right, Nick? He has obviously the deep ball as an opportunity, and he still has Jones as that check down if he needs to. But the beauty of it is, he sees Scantling wide open. He's like, yeah, let's get the extra 15 and moves the sticks.
well, here's an all-important pass. I mean, it's about throwing outside the numbers, and we call it, China flat. You get a corner route, you get a running back in the flat. So you give the quarterback two options. And on 2 consecutive plays, we've seen, the Packers try to go to that corner route. They were successful the first time, not successful the second time.
It's Tunyon up the middle, but that is going to get the clock going as he approaches the middle of the field. Going to hit that spike. So we've got 2nd and 10 from the 48 seconds to go. Not impossible to get a little bit up the field and maybe you have to take a field goal. And that wouldn't be the worst possible thing, but at some point I would like to see him try and make that deep shot. Give Devontae Adams a chance with this coverage spread out like this and try to get that big play.
Good isolation on the left-hand side. And again, up the gut. This is going to chew a lot of clock as well. Probably going to expect, yeah, exactly there. No huddle. So curious on how they're going to play this one. This play can kind of be make or break for them.
Oh, wow. Wow. I think that was the shot down the field that he wanted to take. What wasn't successful. So what do you do at this particular point? You're running out of time. You get the ball back after half. You definitely want to go in at least scoring some points and hoping that maybe once you get the ball back, you can turn that also into points. So will he opt to kick a field goal? Will he take another shot down the field?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about right now. Because and when you're playing Madden in this kind of situation, 20 seconds. If he doesn't get this, if he doesn't get the first down or the score here, then 20 seconds is plenty of time. We've already saw in that last game. We've seen him, Lamar, chuck it deep for Terry and get those big points. So he needs something big right now. He's not going to get it.
Oh,
16 seconds. We could
oh.
see with 2 timeouts. I mean, there's a couple plays that that could really set this one into a really tough second half for Terry.
Well, at this point, I mean, for Tory, I mean, if you go down the middle of the field, you're going to kill the clock for yourself. So Terry's got the ball back now. Wow. Okay. So if you're Terry, hey, time's running out 16 seconds. I'll take a shot just for the hell of it.
Yeah, honestly, there's no reason not to. I mean, I don't think he has to worry about a lot of blitz. So just crank a couple down there. You throw a pick, no big deal. And there it is. Honestly, 10 seconds.
There
That
it is.
could be. That's a chance. That is a
Oh,
chance.
Nice,
man.
Lawler. And
Yeah,
Adam calls
Wow.
it.
Yeah.
That's not the play that you want. I was thinking maybe a deeper shot down the field.
Yeah,
Now
give him a
Tory's in
chance at least,
I
play.
want to see
right?
that 4 verts.
Yes.
Give me that 4 verts.
Come on, Terry. Give your guy a chance, man. You didn't help him out.
Not the
5
worst
seconds.
idea there either. Yeah, not the worst idea. Obviously, trying to see if he can find one and just nothing there that he's happy with, so just throws it down and give it another shot. So here we go, Tori.
A
Yeah,
Hail
this
Mary
has to
setup.
be off. Yes, all or nothing. Right here.
Clock's out. Oh, gets picked in the end zone. This is where you try to find one of your faster guys to get that pitch off to and try to make that miracle
Yeah.
play. Although I would fumble it and they'd probably end up scoring on it. So that's going to take it to half. He's up 10-0. There's no reason to force anything there. And man, this game has been, I love the way that you said it. The vibe on this one, Nick, has been so different than that last game. Baltimore with Terry, he's feeling good. I'm still shocked he's playing Lamar like a pocket passer, and I'm loving it because even though Torrey's been trying to do these big spread out deep defenses, he hasn't really been respecting that front too much because he's been playing it so conservatively, but he still hasn't been able to shut him down. And I think the most important thing is he seems like he's taken Aaron Jones out of the game. Terry's done a fantastic job of keeping him from picking up those 5-7 yard dump pass gains every other play.
Yeah, he has, but let's not really, call it too quickly as the Packers go with the Wildcat again to a play that was successful in game 1. And there's
Oh
Aaron
boy.
Jones with the juke move.
There it is.
Oh my
See,
God.
we called it just as we said it. That Wildcat,
Oh.
Aaron Jones, juke move on the right side ends up in an explosive run play. Wow.
Okay, he's
Hey,
not
man,
out of the
hey, man,
game
we've
anymore,
got-
baby.
I'm just saying, man, we've got Lamar Jackson being a pocket passer and the Green Bay Packers using Aaron Jones and a Wildcat. I live for this.
Wow.
You told me coming into today this is what I was going to see. No. No.
I can bet you right now, Tori is going, let's go!
Oh, that's got to be a good feeling. That was such a tough first half for him, but picking it up on that first play, well, I don't think that there's you can't ask for more than that. And now you're gonna have to be thinking a little bit more carefully on the side of Terry. You've still got the 3-point advantage. A touchdown here or something like that would be massive. Get the 2-possession lead if you possibly can. But everything that he's been doing so far seems like it's been good. I'm curious how he's going to move it forward now, coming in I formation, not something that we've seen him do outside the red zone yet.
And there it is.
There
We've been
it
waiting for
is.
this all game long, man. All game long. Set up that play action, It's the first time we see it, and even still, a 7-yard rush, maybe he makes that cut and it ends up going well. But again, I think there needs to be that threat. There has to be the ability for him to continuously do that because honestly, it's one of the biggest facets to that Baltimore offense.
Oh
So
yeah,
here's the
and I think
biggest
it's
thing for
like,
Terry. Now,
I'll get you.
now that Torrey has scored points, now if you're Terry, do you change up your game plan or do you stick with the same game plan you had in the first half?
I
Yeah,
think
that's
I think
that's what
it's a
I've been
tough
wondering
question,
about.
man. I think if you're Terry, honestly, it was working well. I think it starts with obviously just seeing you can move the chain, which right now 3rd and 2. Hopefully he can get to it. I think he's got a lot of options. It looks like there's going to be a halfback dump pass on the back end that he could possibly use here. Um, but again, I like the concept of the play action, but I think he still needs to solidify that run. He's been pretty good about throwing it to the outside for a majority of the plays in the beginning, but again, this one's a big one.
Yeah, 3rd and 2. He's got him lined up. You see that he's bringing those defenders down closer to the line of scrimmage. He's looking for that draw. If he goes up the middle to again here with Dobbins or Jackson, he's kind of preempting that, and he's still. I think he gets it anyway. Able to wrap him up a first down. That's a huge play there for Terry. And you're talking about making game plan adjustments, Nick. The focus here has been shifting a little more towards that run. We got to see our first scramble out of Lamar in 2 games, right? For that 7 yards, and that's just reminding your opponent that you have the ability to do that takes so much away from them because now they're going to have to consider it on every play coming up. But there it is again.
There it is. Hey, listen, Terry has decided. Listen, I didn't use Lamar Jackson in the first game. I'm going to utilize him now. I'm going to get into this closed 3-by-1 formation, run everyone off, get my back in the flat, get Torrey and the defense on his heels. Things open up. I'm going to take advantage of it. That's what this game comes down to, taking advantage of what the defense gives you. And Terry's doing an excellent job of that right now.
Again, this is that all for that setup. I think of that play action as well. The ability to, okay, I can run out, I can check it down, I can do whatever I want with all of these. So by going with this kind of formation, I think it's really beneficial. But if he decides to go back to that ISO and plays like a play action or even just a run up the gut, I think it's just so difficult for Torrey to figure out what he's going to bring. And I think that's the whole point. I think Terry's doing a great job of making those adjustments.
Yeah, if you're playing like Madden head to head online, it's really easy to get into a rhythm with like the kinds of plays that you like to run because you have an expectation of what's popular, right? You're going to see a lot of gun trips, TE offset, this package that we've had. Both guys have been using it, Terry and Torrey, and it's very very strong because you can really spread the defense out. There's a lot of really good deep crosser routes on these, but since he's been able to mix it up so much when you're playing defense, you can't just say, okay, well, I'm just going to run the same package every play. No, you have to start to adjust constantly. And that gives those opportunities to try and exploit that, gets it outside to Dobbins, a huge pickup onto the 33-yard line. And just another thing worth pointing out, he's starting to chew up that clock while he makes his way down the field. This has become a very long drive.
Indeed, Nate. That initial score, obviously, when it came off of that Wildcat, was only like 15 seconds, if that. So obviously, a lot of play to go. And even though Torrey may be able to score and kind of respond back, he's got to find a way to stop and slow this down, which we haven't seen just yet. It's been a relatively tough fought game, but primarily dominated by Terry this time around. So again, I'm curious to see on what he's going to do to actually stop this offense. And with the way that Terry's picking these plays, I don't feel actually too confident about it.
Well, the biggest thing right now is that Terry has to finish the drive. He's done a great job, play call and execution, moving the ball down the field and having a balanced attack. But if he doesn't put points on the board, then none of it's going to matter.
That's an excellent point too, especially because as we've seen, anything can happen, right? With that scoop and score, you're trying to get that quick pass in, you don't think it's going to be a problem, and then boom, one defender hits you a second too early. He's not able to get that arm moving forward, and the ball's rolling back towards his own end zone. So I definitely agree with you there. As the clock runs out on the third quarter, if he's able to get a touchdown here, that's great. Puts himself in a fantastic spot. But the last thing that you want to do is have a turnover in the red zone with just 5 minutes to go. And then Green Bay starts working the field, moving up. Aaron Jones is, making his crazy wildcat plays. And obviously, you still got to have your eyes on Devontae Adams. So I really like that the focus here. Don't get too cocky just because you made it all the way here. He still hasn't gotten points for this drive yet.
It's a great stop here and a good idea, but overall, trying to get back into it right away. Now, I guess I ask you, Nathanias, in the Madden mentality, is a field goal enough here?
I think with the way that Torrey's been able to run the ball, I wouldn't be satisfied with that. You're giving up a little bit of your agency if he's able to get that offensive machine going from the last game. You still got the lead no matter what. Like, regardless of what happens here, he will need to make a defensive stop of some kind, because just a field goal, right? Then Green Bay touchdown puts them ahead. Right. So if you take the TD, if you get the touchdown, then that's great, right? A lot of that goes away. Then all the pressure's on Green Bay. They're down 2 possessions. They've got to do some crazy stuff and make it happen. But if you take the field goal, it's not going to offset Green Bay moving down the field on a big play. So at least for me, from a Madden perspective, that's kind of where I'm looking. You really need the touchdown here.
Now, here's some defensive adjustments that Torrey just made, crashing everyone inside, making sure that he had a defender, on the corners just in case Lamar came out with the bootleg action. So let's see what Terry has. This drive is all important for him because he needs to put points on the board in the tune of a touchdown, not a field goal. And there it is right there off the left-hand side. He gets in.
Nice play call. I love that. He had everyone kind of set up for that run up the middle. The defenders in coverage were watching the flat for the pass, but he's able to kind of get right between those two spots on that left side. And now things for Torrey get real tough because he needs to score very quickly, and then he needs to get a defensive stop. After a drive like that, we've seen half the playbook get used, it feels like, by Terry. And he's got a 10-point lead with 3 minutes in the game for it. Can't feel too much better than that. And obviously if he's able to get a defensive stop here, then the game is over.
Again, a lot of pressure now all on Torrey. We talked about it at the very beginning. Different feeling in this game this time around, and that's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. So again, for Torrey, is it the Wildcat? Are you going to just run it and get a touchdown right away, or what's the plan here, man? So I'm excited to see what he games up and throws up here, because we've seen a little bit of everything here from this Packers offense.
Yeah, we have. And no Wildcat right now, but you still have the thing that Aaron Jones is still in play. He had big explosive plays in the first game, again here. But he opts for a deep pass down the field. So we know that, Torrey's not going to shy away from throwing the ball down the field. He still has Aaron Jones, but it's about getting other guys involved in offense.
Yeah, and there we see it right there. He gets that big pass, no huddle, boom, dump off to Jones. Still has that option, gets out of bounds, stops the clock. 3 minutes to go. I think you definitely, if he can score and have that 2-minute warning and all of his timeouts, he's going to give himself the best chance to possibly get the ball back. But we need to see him keep throwing deep, keep making these plays. Hits Adams on the outside. He's going to bring it in. Clock is still moving. So I think, no huddle, keep it going. And he's got a little bit of momentum here, Lawler.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic idea as well. You got to play fast and aggressive against Terry. I think anytime he's kind of let off a little bit, Terry's been too good at making adjustments. So again, you're seeing it quick, aggressive, seeing if you can get a score before that 2-minute warning.
Now here's my only question.
Oh, that's it.
Oh, it's picked off. Wow. Went to the well too many times. Wow.
Ooh. That changes everything. I mean, you've got the ball, you're up 10 points. At this point, there's a setting. So in Madden, you can make the coaching adjustments to your packages offensively and defensively. This is that situation where you go into the offensive coaching adjustments, you go to ball carrier aggressiveness, and you set it to conservative. That takes away your ability to do spins and jukes, but it decreases the chance. He kind of focuses more on the protection of that ball so you don't fumble and just run that clock out. If you need to end up punting it, you're still up 2 possessions. So you can't really be in a much more comfortable position here in a game of Madden than Terry Jackson is right now.
No, it's Terry learned from last game, and we can definitely tell because he ran a similar play in game 1. He didn't get an interception, but he batted the ball down. So he must have saw something in what Torrey was doing from, a scheme setup, but excellent play for him to get himself, the ball back.
Yeah, Terry's fully
And
in the driver's seat here, man. Nathanias, you look at this and it's like, again, you've played plenty of situations here where you're just like, you're hoping the guy does something stupid, but with the way Terry's playing, man, this is you can call it, honestly.
Yeah, well, I guess in these kinds of situations, sometimes when you're playing, like you're just playing head to head, you're just grinding games, you're just playing some Madden, just chilling in your spare time. You'll get into these situations where the guy that's up wants to kind of showboat it a little bit, and they'll look for those extra opportunities. He still has the timeout, so this isn't like a quarterback kneel situation just yet. But you take the conservative plays. I mean, this is the reward for making it happen throughout the rest of the game, right? Everything leading up to here is why we're in this situation. So he's afforded himself that level of comfort where he can chill and just kind of make the most of this in a situation where he still gets the punt off. Like anything is always possible. I'm not going to say that like there's not some crazy thing that could happen, but it's just very unlikely since we've seen Terry's just kind of been running that offense very nicely. He's not picking up the yards here, but he's still going to get those timeouts chewed. So in a game situation, there's just not a whole lot to look for on the part of Torrey. Just that interception was just so brutal. And I love you mentioning, Nick, the adjustments made for this game. We saw a whole new, it felt like side of the playbook that Terry didn't break out in that game 1, and he has used it marvelously in this one.
Yes, he's done an effective job of that. And there are no 10-point plays in football. So if you and Terry's ball control, even if you lose yards, to me, that's still great because as he takes a sack, and drops him back, but he's taking time off the clock. And once again, if Torrey gets the ball back, what can he really do that's going to give him 10 points and under a minute? I don't know of any of those plays. If you guys know of any enhanced plays, please tell me because I don't.
Yeah, Nick,
I know
it's
this.
called cheating. It's called cheating, Nick.
There used to be a really funky way that you could do kickoffs. There used to be a funky way you could do kickoffs if there was wind to either side, but I do think that got patched. So unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of easy ways to get the ball back if you do score here. And especially in Madden, I'm not gonna pretend like the onside kick chances are any better than in the real NFL these days, because it is incredibly hard to execute one of those and get the ball back in real life. And Madden, it's not reliable enough, I think, to say that you're gonna be able to depend on the onside kick here, and takes the sack, precious seconds slipping off the clock. And that's 20 seconds coming off here, just trying to get the ball back going, and he's going to throw deep to Adams, but he's got to get up. He's got to call another play, and he's still not in the end zone yet.
Now we do talk about the adjustments that Terry made throughout this game, but there's a pick that's over.
Wow, INT. Wow.
Yeah, but back to the point I wanted to make. You talk about the ability to make those adjustments, seeing a different side of the playbook, but I think the biggest thing here is having that winner side of the bracket, because Terry did so well earlier in the tournament, getting to the point of having that upper seed. He's afforded the ability to see this play. He's afforded to see what Torrey wants to bring in his initial game plan and then trust himself to make those adjustments. So even though, it may not have gone right the first time, he put himself again in that position to really take advantage of the whole scenario. So well done by Terry here, obviously doing a phenomenal job making those adjustments, impressing all of us and showing us that, yes, Lamar Jackson can go outside of the pocket. It only took, though, 27 minutes of gameplay.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
as funny
it
as that
did,
was,
but
just you good.
no, I
Yeah, I
mean
was just
it
gonna
was
say,
great adjustments on behalf of Terry.
yeah, and as much as we joked about that, it still says a lot that you can keep something like that in your pocket and save it for when you
Yeah.
really need it, right? The fact that he didn't have to show the way that he would do that or try to force it in that first game, maybe would the result have been different? Possibly, but he busted it out when he needed it the most, and it worked in a big way for him. And that I think that sets him up. Terry Jackson, the PlayStation 4 champion here for the National Football League Player Association retreat, as we've got our Madden championships going down. The PS4 goes to Terry Jackson and his Baltimore Ravens. Adjustments, right? I think that's the takeaway from this one. He comes in that upper bracket. We have that reset that we were talking about, but he broke out a lot of that I formation, and he took some of those plays that Torrey was running, those halfback dump offs, those screens, and made a really good use of using his own medicine against him in that game to secure the victory. So just a huge congratulations and shout out to Terry Jackson picking up that dub.
There's two things that I want to point out in this game that Terry had the luxury of. When you start fast and you win, I mean, Terry put himself in a position where he can play a game, no pressure. He lost, and he came back and made the necessary adjustments. But the other thing is the importance of having a very mobile quarterback, athletic quarterback, because Aaron Rodgers is athletic in real life, but on Madden, maybe not as much, where you can utilize him with those quarterback sneaks or getting him on the edge. But this is where Terry was able to take advantage of it. So coming up in our next game, we have Baltimore again against Kansas City. Will we see, Lamar Jackson utilize the same way that Terry utilized him in this game?
Yeah, really,
Yeah,
really
and
good points being made here by Nick. Ultimately, man, that is a different system. We've also got a totally different player, so who knows what this version of the Ravens is going to be when we get over to the other side of things. But obviously, Nathanias, we got to get there first, so I'm going to let you take the helm again.
Oh yeah, well, and thank you guys for your thoughts and feedback. I know I'm not trying to step on anybody over here doing it over the internet. It's always a little bit tricky, so appreciate all y'all's patience as we watching some awesome football, and we've got a lot more coming up. Next, after the break, we're going to get to the Xbox Finals for the NFLPA Summer Retreat as we get into our Madden Grand Finals, and we've got the other side of that. So we're going to go to a quick break, and when we return, more Madden action coming up. Stay tuned. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the National Football League Player Association Summer Getaway Madden Grand Finals. I'm Nathanias, joined by Lawler. We just wrapped up the PS4 finals where we had Terry Jackson take that win with the Ravens against Torrey Humphrey in what was an intense, close series. We've got our schedule over here. As you can see, that was our first result as we now get into the Xbox finals, where Charlie Ali will go against Dexter Jackson for glory, bragging rights, and really, Lawler, bragging rights has to be the competitive drive going into this. You want to take these wins. We've got former players going up against each other, but the passion's all still there, even in the digital field.
Hey man, you hit the nail on the head. And sometimes for some of these guys, the digital field nowadays is even more important. They take this stuff pretty seriously. So as we take a look at the bracket, you can kind of see how they got here. The exciting thing about this one is on the top side of the bracket, you actually saw an earlier loss come down, but the ability to battle back. I thought we were going to possibly get a rematch. We did in that lower final down below, but because we are seeing Dexter Jackson, D Jackboy, because he is yet to lose and he's on that top side, he's the one that gets to basically be awarded that extra life like we saw come into play last time. So really important stuff to pay attention to, but ultimately I'm expecting a good match.
Yeah, that's right. Because we've got, like you're talking about, if the team that starts in that winner's bracket, if you win this game, that's it. You've got the championship. You're on top. You made it all the way through without losing. You've earned that. If the team from the lower bracket ends up winning the game, then it will reset and we'll have a second game to put all the marbles on and see who ends up walking away with the championship. Proud to reintroduce again our wonderful third commentator, as we have Nick Ferguson here to enlighten us with his vast football knowledge and career experience in the NFL as a former player yourself. Must be fun getting to watch these guys go at it on the virtual field and seeing how they carve it up, huh?
Well, it's great to watch guys go after it. Like you said, bragging rights, either playing or retired, they're still in effect. But the biggest thing for a lot of guys that's playing is that this is fun, it's enjoyment. No one actually has to go out there and suffer any injury. So it is great to see, football being played in a digital space like this.
Now, Nick, I told you at the beginning of the show, the real reason I'm here is you, and I want to know some of that juicy gossip. Hit me with some fun stories. You told us a little bit off camera about a situation that happened in regards to Randy Moss and some coach talking during a halftime show. Something was going on. Can you give us some insight about what the heck you're mentioning and teasing us about? Because I need to know.
Okay, so everyone knows about the play Randy Moss against the Denver Broncos. It's the famous play. Culpepper rolls out to his right side right before halftime, launches this monster of a pass down the field. Randy catches the ball. Oh, and by the way, there's a running back that happens to be jogging by. Randy flips the ball over his shoulders. It ends up being a touchdown. Minnesota Vikings going into the half. Now, I was a part of that play. And the whole idea was we knew what Randy was as a wide receiver, not giving up the big play where he is going to jump all over you. And as it's been coined now, you've just been mossed. But fortunate for me, I wasn't mossed in the natural sense of the word, but knowing as though he caught the pass and I'm bringing him down to the ground and he flips it over his shoulder. I'm involved with the play, but it's not quite a Moss play. But what happened at halftime was something I had never experienced at that time in my career. So usually, you give up points before the half. It was kind of an offensive defensive struggle for us against Minnesota. So we go to our different sides of the locker room, offense on the left, defense on the right. And then all of a sudden I noticed that there was this jawing going back and forth. And I'm thinking, well, that's two players, one on offense, one on defense. But to no avail, it is two coaches. Coaches actually going at it. It's like, well, hey, if you guys had played great defense at that time and not giving up that touchdown before the half, we would still be in a position where we can come out in halftime and score points. And I'm like, wait a minute, is this really happening? Am I really experiencing where coaches are having this conversation opposed to players? So that was something that was rather interesting. I had never experienced that before in my 10-year NFL career. But they say if you play long enough, you're going to get run by or get run over. But I guess you'll see a situation like that where coaches are going at one another.
Trying to defend against big plays from Randy Moss must frustrate a lot of players and coaches alike over those years, huh? I guess there must be a lot of locker room fights over those get Moss type plays too, as that's amazing.
Yeah, I can't imagine what it's like to be in those situations. Be like what was it? So this year, obviously being a Packers fan, when you see Devontae Adams just style with a play to where they can't cut back across, he's like, "What do you want me to do?" It's Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, and I can't get that man.
Right.
What do you want me to do? I can't imagine that type of frustration. But luckily for us, the coach and the player is just arguing in his own head right now because he's all alone. So I guess that's the exciting thing about it.
That's the most exciting thing.
Hell yeah, I love hearing about that. We've it's fun to be here, not just as like a video game person, but also as someone who loves football, but watching all whole life, and hearing stories like that is the dream. As we do have, I think, just about getting ready to jump into, as we were saying, our Xbox Grand Finals here in Madden 21, as we have for our teams. Charlie will be playing the Ravens as we get into it, and rallying as the Kansas City Chiefs, we have Dexter Jackson on offense, getting ready for the first drive of this game.
Trying to throw that one in there pretty early, it looks like, Nathanias. Obviously, we get past the really fun, I'm going to kneel in the end zone part. So, like you said, right into the first drive. And a great field possession already for Dexter. And it does look like a little bit of aggression. Throws it with a bullet pass, it looked like, to try to force it, which makes me a little bit nervous, but at the same time, it shows a little bit of confidence as well.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you, Nick, as we get into this one, Aaron Rodgers, we know, is a great pocket passer and great throwing the ball and all that jazz, but Pat Mahomes, okay, well, big throw here to Clyde Edwards-Helaire down the middle of the field. I was going to say one of his strengths is that he can run the ball and move on the outside there too, and he's got a great cannon of an arm. So I want to see the versatility and the movement and the legs get used. I feel like we're already getting that a bit out of Mahomes, going up the middle on this run to follow that up too.
Well, it seemed like Dexter is trying to bring real life football into the digital space, using Patrick Mahomes, running him around, and definitely taking advantage of his athleticism. Not as fast as Lamar Jackson, but when the holes open up between the two A gaps, you have to take advantage of it.
Well, obviously 2nd here, and in a pretty good spot. Going to stick with the run, try to bring it up the middle. He's going to pick up a first down, it looks like. So, again, a new set of downs, 1st and goal, and no hesitation. Just going to go straight into that no huddle, apply that pressure. And I think that's probably going to be the precedent I want to assume between these two teams at an early look is it's going to be try to dictate that game early. Don't give them any chance to adjust. And, again, another run up the gut. Just chip away at it.
Because one thing we're seeing right now from Dexter is it's more like he's hurrying up. He's going to run the play, see what the defense is in, and he's going to try to utilize his offensive weapons before they can actually get set.
Yeah, I was going to say he's really keeping the tempo up on that drive. As soon as the ball started moving, I mean, if we think about it, he started with a deep pass to the running back, and Helaire, we all know of him now, right? Had quite a heck of a rookie season for sure, and he's been an absolute threat, and I love seeing that because he's not only going to have those options for the short pass plays to him there, but you've got so many deep threats on that team. You have to respect the pass when the Chiefs are on the field. You don't want to give Tyreek Hill space to go out there and carve up and get on top of that safety, because those big plays, when you're playing Madden head-to-head online, if you're up against Tyreek Hill, you can't cheat up on him at all, or you're going to get beat. You're going to get beat real bad. So now we come back over on the other side. We've got Lamar Jackson on the field. Let's see if we get a similar amount of mobility out of him.
No.
It seemed like both guys tried to open up with some sort of a run play of some sort to kind of test the defense out, see how their opponent is playing. But let's see what Charles starts to do from here. He had a run play, wasn't as successful. Will he continue to stick with that, or will he try to now dig into the playbook and throw more passes down the field?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the way to go about it too, is like obviously we all know you have the ability to roll out and use your legs, but at the same time, do you really need to? Let's use that as a, it's there if I need it rather than that's the only thing I can do. I don't want to make myself one dimensional. So a big 3rd and 9 here already off the back as Jackson drops back, trying to see if he can find somebody. He has nobody up top, so he's just gonna delay it. It actually pulls
Wow.
everybody in, and what a beautiful play here
Wow.
by Charles.
Great job. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
a
a really hard
utilization
one.
once again, of athleticism of Lamar Jackson pressing the line of scrimmage, not going over where it would be a penalty, but still finding an open receiver downfield.
Yeah, that's a really hard pass to be able to make work. Sometimes you get to the outside, and in Madden, you can use that right stick for the playmaker, kind of get that receiver one-on-one interaction to move him around. But in that situation, the fact that he's able to get it over top, to use that height as well to make that catch was fantastic, and gets another one on the middle here. He's looking good, 1st and 10. Seems we're gonna have a bit of a gunslinger game with regards to some deep passes and some potentially quick scores by both of these players as we're still in the first quarter, but we've got that very close to the red zone situation for the Ravens. He comes up and he's there on the 13-yard line.
But based on what we're seeing so far, do you guys think that this is going to be somewhat of a high-scoring game?
I think keep passing like this, it's got to be, right?
I think it's gonna be a slugfest if we're talking about it, Nick. From what I'm seeing, these guys don't care about time management. They're like, I'm just gonna score. That's how I'm gonna win, and I'm okay with it, man. It makes for an entertaining game. So yeah, bring it on. Make it 40-50. I don't care. Keep them coming.
Well, we saw a
I
similar
think
game like this a couple of years ago when the Rams faced off against Kansas City. So I guess that type of mindset or ideology has now come to today's game. Score as many points, be explosive as much as you can.
Yeah, it was going with the read option, not able to get a big
Oh,
opportunity
what a
there. Goes
play!
for a little dump pass over the middle,
Whoa!
though. Picked off.
Wow, first turnover. Wow. That's gotta hurt Charles right now. You're in scoring position, you're moving the ball so efficiently, and then you turn the ball over. Man, that's gotta hurt.
It's a
And
big play in the middle of the field.
we talked about how explosive the offenses were both looking, right? And he just says, okay, well, I'll just take this little quick dump pass, 3rd and 2. I don't need that many yards, but he wanted to get it through the air, and it just comes back to bite him in a big, big way. And now you got Pat Mahomes back on the field. They're moving down, getting the chains up, and I think okay, 3rd and inches on this one. So maybe his quick drive gets stuffed. We'll see.
Again, this is kind of an interesting one too, because with how aggressive these guys are playing, a turnover I think just means so much more than what it used to. He is able to move the chains with another one up the gut, but yeah, I mean, we talk about how fast they're playing, right? No huddle, just keep pounding it, and we talk about a lot in our last series that we got to watch those adjustments and the fine tuning. But when you're playing this quick and you're just trying to run up a score, especially for Dexter, who is in the winner bracket side, he's just got to win the first one. So I think he's going to pull out all the stops and try to end it early.
Can't blame him there. He goes using that escape artist on Pat Mahomes and picking up 10 there. It's always terrifying to take the hit, even going out of bounds, even in Madden with the quarterback. That ball comes out real easily sometimes, but at least by the sideline, not too much risk of losing it, right? If it bounces out. I think if you play Madden, you've had that experience before with the quarterback where you're just, okay, run it outside. If he fumbles, it'll probably go out of bounds at least. Keep picking up those yards and force them to take those defensive edge players on the contain, or take one of the linebackers or corners out as a spy and open up those passing plays more.
Once again, we're seeing based on formation, you get close side, back offset, 2 receivers to the left. It opens up everything to that wide side of the field, puts that corner in a tough predicament. See, the back is in the flat, and now you still have the capability to run the ball with Patrick Mahomes. So Dexter has something going right now that Charles has to find out a way to kind of slow it down. But based on formation, he's dictating what he's going to do before the ball is snapped.
Yeah, we do talk about how aggressive he's been, picking his plays with his no huddle and everything. But at the same time, like you're seeing him now, a little bit more methodical with it, slowing it down. He's reading the coverage. He's making some adjustments on those hot routes. And then when he rolls out, does he want to throw it away or does he want to just take it himself? And as soon as that defender takes the bait and moves up with that running back, he's just like, yeah, I'm gone, and it's a free 15.
And he's really taking a good advantage in these situations when he's got all those guys up back and he's got just four on the line, but he has those tight ends up to block. He's able to get these runs up the middle going for short yardage, and it's almost guaranteed. It's almost automatic with those. He hasn't really been stuffed on the run at all when he needs those low yardage pickups. And we've got just about a minute to go in the half. He still has all of his timeouts, and I do believe the ball is going to go to Baltimore after half. So this is just a great opportunity for him to chew up the clock, get close. If you take a field goal, you're up 2 possessions, right? Giving the ball back to Baltimore after the turnover. If you get a touchdown, that's, amazing. Sure, great. But I think the most important thing is he's moving down methodically, and 2nd and 1 with 3 timeouts and a minute to go. I think he can run the ball here and just start to chew that clock up a little bit more. Don't give him too much time on the other side to try and, get a comeback point before the half.
Well, Dexter's done a great job on first down, and that's where a lot of his drives start, by having those positive yards. But now it puts him in a second and manageable situation, and he's still right there with the utilization of his running back, hasn't gone away from that. And here's that quick get back to the line, set another play. Let's kind of keep Charles on his heels.
Yeah, I really like that point, Nick. Obviously, you talk about his efficiency on first down. To put himself, in 2nd and 2, 2nd and 3 positions, the drives don't have to be anything crazy up that gut. He's making a couple yard run, but it's enough to get the first and kind of reset. So this is gonna be the first time that it's actually stood tall and dropped down. So now a little bit of pressure, because for Dexter, this is a big moment. Like Nate said, going up by 2. Before the half, he's killed plenty of clocks, so now he just needs to execute on the back end.
I think the focus here has to be on trying to pick up points before the half. It's a little bit nerve-wracking seeing him go for the pass. It hasn't been too bad for him. I actually love that he throws it away here. As long as you're getting something, 14 seconds, that's not really enough time, right? He can go for his deep back defense to try and catch the pass if he throws a Hail Mary, but we know those are obviously also going to be hard to hit. So get the 3 points, go up 2 possessions, get ready for the second half. He's played a fantastic ball game so far.
Yeah, that was smart by Dexter, not taking, that sack before he attempted the field goal to make it a tough one. But once again, that's a guy who has played the game a long time, and he understands, the ins and outs of it. And it's all about putting your players in excellent position to make plays for you. And he did a great job right there.
I think that's the difference. I would have forced it in. I would have tried it for everything, the glory of 7 points. I think that's the difference. That's what's holding me back from the NFL, I think, right there.
Yeah, right there. It's decision making at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's the only factor, right?
Athleticism helps, but football is a game of strategy too, right?
Yeah, that's why they pay the coaches the big dollars.
Hey man, it makes sense. Makes sense. Well, last play here, and it's going to be just a quick one, and I think you understand. It's going to make a big shot, but at the end of the day, just going to get that ball back and go in. So down by 2 possessions. Luckily, it was held to a field goal. But again, for Dexter, last time they got down the field, he got a pick. Big turn of momentum. So going to be up to Charles, see if he can bounce back here. Interested to see on what he does, because for the most part, his offense has been pretty solid.
Yeah, it has been. It just, unfortunately, it was that turnover that kind of killed the drive. So that for me is like, is he going to keep the balance attack, or is he going to try to get a little more risky? As they say, no risk it, no biscuit. So let's see what Charles tries to do.
Nice. Well, he gets a good pickup there to start off this drive. Not bad at all. I did want to call back. Especially, talking about Madden and people who play a lot, you'll find there's surprisingly few folks that will take advantage of the throwaway button rather than forcing it or taking that sack. And that's one of those things I think really separates players is of course, knowing when you can throw it away, but also actually doing it in a situation where it will benefit you. As we have him going up here again, is going to hit Andrew on the right side of that hash and keeping the ball moving. No huddle. We talked about this. He's bringing that attack.
Yeah, Charles has picked up a little something from watching Dexter do it to him, getting his guys to the offensive to the line of scrimmage quickly, not allowing the defense to adjust and know exactly what you're going to do. And then now you can pick your spots and take advantage and hit your guys. And Mark Andrews seemed to be the guy right now.
I do think that's a different element, obviously, to this tournament in general. Obviously, here with NFLPA, these guys are all former players. You know, they read and play the game and understand these formations better than anybody else. So, not giving them time to put that stuff into effect, I think, is a really big deal. The ability to just go, 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 go. It's like, I know you know what you need to do, but I'm going to do it before you can actually get that opportunity. So, trying to play fast, it's up to pressing the buttons more so than it is using that mind.
Yes, stick speed is so important. Recognition, being able to switch guys, get them in position. And, that is definitely key. That could be the difference between getting a first down, scoring a touchdown, and losing the game. So right now, both guys are doing an excellent job of it.
Yeah, you see on Charles' side, I love that. He's paying attention to everything too. He's going to sub Ingram back in over. Looked at the last running back he had. He's keeping tabs on the stamina of the players. He's not trying to push anything too far. That's going to raise that fumble chance. And even right here, just says, okay, I'll just take the yard. Don't want to try to force it on this. But 3rd and 9, that pressure starts to mount up a little bit. The 3rd and 2nd here towards the end zone is exactly where things fell apart on that last drive.
What a play. Great execution up the middle.
Right, yeah, that was a great job. You mentioned the last drive, he was moving the ball down the field, costly turnover right there. He was able to find, once again, Mark Andrews finding a soft spot in the defense to convert that 3rd down.
He comes out with the option and gets the pitch, but not quite able to pick up anything else there. I like to see that though. Keeping the opponent honest is really important. One of the things that you'll see a lot of people in, especially if you're playing Madden, if you understand the game, if you're playing it a lot, the way that people set up their defense, you can do like the coaching adjustments with how they'll play against the option. If you're gonna take the more aggressive route and go on the inside, and the quarterback can sometimes get out, but in this situation, he was able to make a good read on the play, keep the contain, and there was nowhere to go up the field. So 2nd and 10.
That late defensive shift on the offensive line caused Dexter right there, leaving that gap on the left side.
He's going to run this in. He's going for it.
Oh, no way! Wow.
When you get hit sticked at the goal line. No.
Wow. How devastating is that? Once again, Charles moving the ball down the field, turned the ball over. I thought that was a touchdown for sure.
Yeah, he was inches. I would love to go back and be able to see that, in slow-mo from the side to, give me a pylon cam on that one because that was close. But Dexter, he read that extremely well. You saw him going out to the side. I don't know if he was trying to buy time for a route to develop, and he's just like, no, I'm turning and burning. And then he just gets smacked.
There's no worse feeling. There's no worse feeling than that. He had it. He had it set up, and
it was so close.
It's so hard to make the right call on the defensive side in those situations too, because you know that Lamar always has that option to just run it in if you try and spread out and cover all the receivers too much. But just stings. It stings to see that, and he's gonna take a sack there to end the 3rd quarter. But that's probably the hardest thing about Madden is you're going up there, you're like, all I need to do is just get half a yard. If the tackle animation has me fall over, I'll still be in the end zone. But the ball comes out. Those quarterbacks, they really try to punish you in Madden for going a little bit too much with it. I don't think he's been overdoing it, but he did. He ran straight into him, and sometimes that ball just comes out. There's only so much you can do, and that's why the risk is there.
That's so tough, man. Charles has been doing a great job moving the ball down the field to just kind of, watch your quarterback take a shot like that, and you give up a fumble and it's taken back for 6 points. That's devastating. And I'm wondering, what is Charles thinking, right now? You're down by 14. You've been moving the ball down successfully. What do you think his mentality is at this particular point?
I mean, I'm a little nervous for him because obviously he's trying to find something, but just hasn't been able to. At any point, I think he just needs points in general on the board. I think he needs to find a way to score now. I mean, you're talking how fast his clock is going to go away. And, Dexter, we haven't even really seen his offense that much because he keeps scoring on defense. So, honestly, it's a tough situation. He's got to find a way to score. And 3rd and 8, obviously, a lot of pressure on the line. And it's another pick.
Oh, third turnover. Oh,
And he's looking for it
wow.
there too. He's looking for it on that one. He's hit that tight end over the middle 3 or 4 times for big gains today. And finally says, you know what? I'm not letting that happen anymore. I'm going to take that linebacker up a little bit, cover for that tight end dump off. And he had it. And that's just really good gameplay. He adjusted perfectly, doesn't have anything on this play, gets the pass thrown away before he takes the sack. He's not giving up anything, even with the 17-0 lead.
Well, that's kind of the downside of having that Baltimore Ravens, offense. I mean, who are your offensive weapons? You got Dobbins out of the backfield. You have, Brown, Hollywood Brown. Then it's, Andrew. Other than that, what other guys can you depend on? And you can only go to the well so many times before a player, burns you. And Dexter is doing that right now. 3 turnovers, massive turnovers in this game that has definitely decided the outcome early. Even though I know we still got 3 minutes and 25 seconds remaining in this fourth quarter. But man, I mean, that defense has shown up for Kansas City.
It's just demoralizing, Nick, and I'm sure you can, talk about the frustrations too, no matter how much effort you're putting in, and every effort just is for nothing. You drive down the field multiple times, you get so close to scoring, and it's all for naught. You're literally inches away and it gets stopped out, and it's that essentially 14-point swing, either 7 points on the board for you or 7 on the other, and taking it back to the house as well is like you got to go right back to that offense, and you're like, God, what am I supposed to do? It's tough on the mentality.
Now you have to see with all of this that we're saying, and where is Charles' psyche right now? Does he try to force it back between the hashes? Does he dump it off? Now does it turn into a Lamar Jackson game where he just runs the ball? Right now it's very difficult as far as play calling for Charles.
Yeah, there's not a tremendous amount of options for him, right? But at the same time, like you guys are saying, it's hard to blame him too. Like, do I think it's a bad call to try to run it in with Lamar the way that he did? No, it's a minimum yardage situation. He was going to get hit by a defensive back, not a linebacker. Like, you can't know that he's going to fumble or that it's going to get 99 yards all the way back, right? Like, you got to take some risks if you want to win. And it's just unfortunate that every time he went for those mid percentage opportunity plays, it always went the worst possible way that it could have gone. He didn't get stuffed. The passes didn't get batted away. There was just somebody there to actually pick it up and punish him really, really badly. And that's just hard to see, because I think the offensive game plan in general out of him has been pretty good. He's been mixing it up. We've seen a wide variety of plays. He's hit a decent amount of targets. But on the big plays that count the most, he just hasn't had anything go right for him.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
That you know what? Oh, how devastating. Tackling! Bring it down! Trip it up! Oh, come on!
That
Dobbins,
two
make it
99-yard
play!
plays on Hamilton?
Yes.
Is that 2 99-yard plays on Hamilton now?
Oh
Yeah.
my
Oh.
gosh. I mean, Dexter looks
This
like
game,
just another day at the office, man. Like,
yeah. It's like casual Friday for Dexter. That's what it's like, casual Friday. Hawaiian t-shirt.
This is where you'd see on the screen Nathanias is disconnected from the game, trying to reconnect. Sorry, guys, my internet went out at the last second. My bad.
Come on, Charles. Let's get some points on the board. Touchdown, field goal. Come on. All self
I believe, yeah,
dignity
let's
is
get
on the
something.
line right now. Yes. Come on.
I'm ready to hop on that bandwagon. I just want him to get some points. He's got this.
There's been a lot of good concepts used, mixing up the packages. He hasn't been running the same play over and over. He's had a really good amount of variety mixed into it, but it's just so hard when he's not able to make those big plays end up working, because he's great. He's been doing really good at that short and mid game, but every time where he's had to get it he's really tried to punch it in and finish any of these drives. I think that's what you were saying, Nick, is finishing the drive is the most important thing, because at the end of the day, if you're not getting points 80 yards down the field into an interception or a fumble, just that doesn't do it. It doesn't win you games.
No, it doesn't. This game seems very familiar to me. I played my son about a week ago. He had the Chargers, and I had the Chiefs, and this same thing happened to me. 4 turnovers in a game.
That hurts a little bit.
Oh, it stings.
Especially when it's one of your own, man. Like
See, here's the difference in this game. See, with my son, he's not going to brag because he's my son, right? But when you talk about Dexter and Charles, you know Dexter's going to brag. Deep down inside, he may not come out and say it and celebrate that much, but he's like, yeah, I'm pounding my chest. Yeah, I'm that dude.
I'm just saying, man,
He's
when they
definitely
see each
earned
other
it here.
next year, right? They see each other next year, he's gonna just look at him and he's gonna know. He's gonna be like, you remember? Because I do.
He doesn't even have to say anything. All he has to do is just put up
just
a
look at him,
2
man.
and a 7.
Just look at
Yes,
him.
that's it.
Just put up the 2 and the 7. I love it.
2 and a,
Oh, he's
2 and a
trying.
7.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
no,
Oh,
no, not again.
I don't know if he's gonna put up 2
Wow.
or a 6 for how many turnovers he's got. My goodness.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh man, I feel a
Wow.
little that stings.
That hurts. That hurts.
Oh, that's tough. I think
Wow.
the you know, it's like we've all been there. You had those games where you're like, man, I
Yeah.
did so many things right, and it's true. Like it's not like every drive he just got 3 and out or threw a pick or turned it over on 4th down, right? He was moving down the field, he was making plays, he was getting in the red zone, but every time he got there, whatever could have possibly gone wrong went wrong. And that's just one of those painful games where you look at it and like, I gotta try to just move on from this, forget about that. And whatever you're doing for the rest of your day, make sure you're having some fun so you don't think about the way that went, because sometimes you get into these games where the only thing you're thinking is, man, I just can't wait for it to be over.
I hope he's got like a wonderful lunch plan or something. He's going to hit up the like golf course or something. Like, I hope he's got plans today,
Please.
just so he can kind of like just to shift that focus, man. Because that was what, 5 turnovers, 6? Like, man,
6 turnovers.
That's he's not gonna hold up a 2 and a 7. He's gonna hold up a 6 and just look at it and be like, yeah.
Oh man,
Wow.
and that's just a brutal way
That's
to cap that.
devastating.
But big ups to Dexter Jackson, though. I mean, he didn't just show up and win. He made himself look damn good and played some fantastic Madden. As we took a quick recap of our schedule, these were our games today. Terry Jackson did give up a point to Torrey Humphrey in the PS4 finals, but he was able to close it out. He made some fantastic adjustments, and Dexter Jackson, he didn't give Charles a chance with that game. Just an absolute disaster, really, for that Ravens squad, getting up the field constantly, but just turnovers is, that's, yeah.
Well, it's hard to win any game when you turn the ball over, but you never go in thinking you're going to turn it over 6 times. That's devastating. You guys talking about, Charles eating lunch and playing a round of golf. I don't care what you do with your Friday, that is going to stick in your craw, and that's going to be in the back of your mind. So your food is going to taste awful, and going to the golf course is not going to make it any better.
Dude, the
So
worst part, he probably goes to the golf course. His first swing, he slices it. He's just like, I can't win. What do I do? Like, poor guy, man.
exactly.
Poor guy.
Now it's in
go
his
back to
head.
bed, bro.
It's in his head now.
Just go back to bed. Go back to bed.
He
Go
need-
put the
he
covers
needs
over. Check out. You're done for the day.
Our man needs a dub. Our man needs a win after that one. Hopefully he's able to get one of those soon. Because, big congratulations there again, though, to Dexter Jackson. He just played a fantastic game. I don't really know that there's much to take away from his side of the ball. He executed. He threw the ball away when he needed to. Right. He had good fundamentals, good mechanics, good awareness. And that's he took advantage of every single one of those opportunities to make a huge play. But yeah, guys, favorite moments of the day. I don't know if we have anything else we can try to break down from that one without it being bullying over here, and I don't want to do that.
Oh, that's going to be interesting. Now, as we move forward, what's the headspace that Dexter is in right now? Is he feeling overconfident where he can go into the next game and maybe he doesn't play the same way? Maybe there's some holes in his game. I don't know, but I'm interested to see if he can kind of run it back with 6 turnovers and maybe put up 27 points again.
Perhaps, but for today, he's got that championship. Lawler, he's looking good. He's got his big win. Any final thoughts on that series before we close things out?
Man, 6 turnovers. We talk a lot about, obviously, defense wins championships. That's a prime example of it. But, I mean, credit to the world. We're talking about Charles and his situation, but Dexter executed perfectly. Very smart with his decision-making, ran efficiently, mixed up his different formation and style that he wanted to play. But defense, I mean, we talk about the guy's a former safety. He showcased that for us today. He showed us the ability to play that defense and read that defense perfectly. So, well done to Dexter. Well deserved.
Yeah, and big
Well
congratulations to him
indeed.
again. And thank you so much, Nick, for coming on, sharing your wonderful knowledge and experience with football. I know you played. I know you played for the Jets a little bit. I've been fanboying over here this whole entire time. Lifelong fan. Just wanted to say big thanks. Do you have anything that you want to say before we sign off? We really appreciate, of course, having you with us here today.
Well, thank you guys for having me. But here's the difference. When having former players play, Madden football, they see things and they adjust a little different. And that's not to say that someone who hasn't played, they can't perform as well. But we saw with Dexter, going back to his days with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, robbing, Rich Gannon on certain plays. He did that same thing here today. So from a defense perspective, I love the fact that Dexter won. And for me, once again, it was great. And knowing as though you are a Jets fan, I'm hoping the Jets perform well this year with a guy that I work with, Rob Asala. So I'm hoping Gang Green gets things back on track. But it was definitely awesome. Thanks for having me, and I enjoy every moment of it.
Awesome. Thank you again so much. And yeah, fingers crossed for this year, right? Turn things around, turn the ship around. But that does it here for us, ladies and gentlemen, with the NFLPA Summer Getaway virtual Madden Grand Finals as we have our winners crowned. I hope you enjoyed today's broadcast. I'm Nathanias, joined by Lawler and Nick Ferguson. Have a fantastic day. We'll see you later.